Hello, I'm author L.R. Braden, and today I'd like to read you a passage from the third book in my Magicsmith series titled Faerie Forged. Hey Kayla, sorry My apologies stalled as my gaze shifted past Kayla to the cafe area and a knot lodged in my throat. Standing at the counter was an agent of the Paranatural Task Force, PTF for short. He wore blue jeans, brown boots, and a button-up shirt with a beige plaid pattern. Nothing to mark him as a PTF agent, but I'd recognize Benjamin O'Connell anywhere. Hard to forget a man who'd sworn to ruin your life, especially when he had the means and authority to actually do it. Clenching my fist, I continued past the register, ignoring Kayla's furrowed brow. I stepped up to O'Connell. "What are you doing here?" O'Connell raised one eyebrow. "Getting a coffee." I crossed my arms. "Why here?" He shrugged. "Why not?" Emma, the barista, pulled a lever on the copper machine behind the counter and a hiss of steam poured out. She jingled as she worked, her many chains and piercings clicking with each motion, but her usual perkiness was absent. Her shoulders sagged, and when she turned I saw dark circles below her eyes. Last month, Emma took and passed a test to become a practitioner, a rare human who could use magic. She'd also convinced a local healer named Luke to take her on as his apprentice, which would explain her glazed expression. I knew from experience that using magic was exhausting. I inched closer to O'Connell and pitched my voice lower. "What do you want?" "I was worried you might get lonely after I saw the list of potentials brought in this morning." My heart stuttered and my mouth went dry. Potentials were people reported for exhibiting magical behavior. They were rounded up, dragged to the nearest PTF facility, and tested for paranatural abilities. I'd seen firsthand how brutal PTF tests could be, and the consequences of failing. I was just lucky my ability to handle iron protected me from suspicion, since that was the main way they tested for Fae heritage. Not all my friends were so lucky. If he'd gotten his hands on any of them... I swallowed the sour taste in my mouth. "Gonna take all day to get them processed," he sighed and rubbed the back of his neck, the picture of an overworked employee just trying to get through the day. "Then there's the testing, could be days, weeks maybe, backed up as we are." He leaned toward me like a friend sharing a secret. His nearness made my skin itch. "We've been up to our eyeballs in suspicion reports since the election results came in." Colorado's governor-to-be, Gary Anderson, had run on a purity campaign, aligning himself with the extremist group that endorsed wholesale slaughter of anyone with a drop of magic in their blood. I'd already noticed several disturbing changes around town, like iron bead curtains hanging in doorways, anti-Fae stickers in storefronts, and a recent call for magical segregation in schools. News that the number of reports had risen since the election wasn't surprising, but it was disturbing. The same thing happened right before the Faerie Wars broke out, when tension between the humans and Fae had been at its highest. I shuddered to think how much worse the situation was going to get come January, when Anderson was officially sworn in. "I guess between the Haffer," O'Connell cut his eyes to Kayla, "and the witch," he nodded toward Emma, "you've got all the company you need." He smiled. "For now." That was a passage from Faerie Forged, the third book in the Magicsmith series. Thanks for listening and happy reading.